Welcome to Sacred Time. On this episode of Career Q&A, I answer the question, what questions should I prepare for when faced with a job interview? Now, I'm Tiffany Dedeaux, certified career coach, senior resume writer. Part of what I'm looking to do is share with you the 3 questions that I recommend preparing for, but then also some key insights into what to address and how to approach those questions. So we'll start with tell me about yourself, which I understand is not really a question, but it seems to be how all the interviews start. And it can be very informal, the way that it comes in, but it's a very important question for a lot of reasons, which we will discuss. The second question I recommend preparing for is why do you want this job? Third question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, as you ponder how you might actually answer these questions, let me begin with tell me about yourself. Now, this could feel like a trap, but really, they might genuinely want to know. They definitely need to know. And part of why it might feel like a trap is because it's so hard to know where to start and where to finish. So part of my recommendation is to have a formula for how you answer it. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach this, and I'll cover those on another episode. But what I do want to share with you is in a recruiter phone screen, essentially you get 30 minutes. And according to research, people will decide what they think about you or their impressions are formed within that first 10 minutes. So that's critical time. And in fact, part of my training was in intentionally getting past the 10 minutes so that you could still be pleasantly surprised if things change. So it's important to think about what are the aspects that are relevant. What do you want to make sure to get across? How you want to share that information? And come up with a framework that works for you. So there's lots of different ways in which you can answer that question or outline how you want to answer it, what you want to make sure to touch on as you answer that question. But beyond that, whatever you end up saying, because nerves happen, you want to make sure to nail the dismount. For me, the dismount in a job interview is how you end your answer. If you end that answer by tying it back to the job at hand or the company, you make it relevant, even if it feels like it wasn't relevant in the middle of it. So if you nail the dismount, this could still be a successful encounter. When it comes to the question, why do you want this job? How I should really ask it is, why do you want this job? Because this is so important. Partly because I hear job searching equated to dating, and I have that illustration used a lot because people want to feel special and you don't know what you're going to get and you're trying to understand, is this going to be a good fit or not? And so all of these things kind of come swirling in. When you get this question, you want to be specific about this employer. Is there something the employer does or is about that matters to you, that you resonate with, that you relate to? Is there something about this role? These are the things you want to document and be ready to share during the interview, because that's going to demonstrate 2 things. It's going to help them see that you didn't do necessarily the spray and pray approach, is what we call it. That it wasn't an accident that you sort of applied for this job. You did this on purpose. You're intentional. If you lay this out in a way where you're really eager to approach this company like you applied, you're going towards this role rather than away from another role. So you're running to them and not away from a bad employer or a different employer. That could help them feel special, but then that also helps to put the focus right where you actually want it, which is you in this new role. Now, when it comes to where do you see yourself in 5 years, being that it's 2021, so we're in part 2 of a pandemic that has been spanning all these many months. I understand you might not feel like you can tell the future, but there's generally some idea of where you want to take your career. So even if it's not precisely 5 years, there might be some idea of where you want to get to, some role you want to get to, some company you want to get to. This is going to be important for yourself so that you can be clear about how this particular company, this particular role, and this career path fits in. When you get that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Outline your plan, but only the part that relates to the conversation. You don't have to give every single detail because it might not matter and it might not involve that employer, quite honestly. But if you are clear about your opportunities for growth, where you want to grow, you can own your own career development, and that makes it easier on the employer and they can see how that will fit in. So if you connect those dots, they'll be able to travel that path with you. It'll at least be a lot easier for them. Click on the links below to join me for a live monthly career Q&A or sign up for ongoing job search support with Career GPS. Your partner in change, Sacred Time.